Holy.
Good afternoon. This is Elan Wurtzel. I am the chairperson of SpringFest 2022 being held by the Planview-Old Bethpage Chamber of Commerce. And we have here with us this afternoon, Dr. Fred Holtz of Therapy My Way, a silver sponsor of the event. Fred, thank you so much for your sponsorship and thanks for being here today. How are you?
No problem. I'm fine. Thank you very much. We participated about 3-4 years ago as well.
We're glad to have you back, and we're excited about this year's event, especially since it's coming on the hopefully the end of the pandemic, but we'll see about that. But it's going to be a great sunny day, and we're going to take a few minutes this afternoon to talk about your practice, what you guys do, what makes you special. So let's start off. Tell us about what it is, Therapy My Way is, and what you guys do.
Sure. We have 13 or 14 therapists. We have social workers, psychologists, licensed mental health counselors, social workers. Did I say that already? And we have a few graduate interns. So we have a full variety of services for mental health, for relaxation, for testing and evaluation. One of the big programs we have is social skills for teens. There are other social skills groups on Long Island, but we are probably more fun. We fly drones, we race cars, we have special relationships with businesses in the community that give us behind the scenes tours and help us out with mock job interviews. So that's one of the big successful programs that we do run that is unique.
Where are your offices located?
So we have 4 offices. One is in Plainview, one is in Hicksville, and one is in Garden City, and the other one is in Rosslyn Heights.
Okay. And I'm just going to focus on the Plainview Hicksville location.
Sure.
Why did you set up offices in those areas, and particularly in the Plainview area?
I love Plainview. It's a good demographic. I'm a resident in Plainview, and we find it to be convenient. Shopping, commuting, highways, the people. It's kind of a great town to live in. The school district, there's nothing, there's no area that we don't love, actually. We're raising a young child right now, and it's a pleasure to live in Hicksville and to service the Hicksville community.
All right, well, that's
Hicksville and Plainview.
Well, I think if you talk to many of our members, they'll all express the same thing. We have a high percentage of members who actually live here as well.
Yeah.
They all say the same thing. What is something that distinguishes your practice from other similar practices? I know you talked about the teams, and that is something unique. But what else distinguishes you from your competitors?
There's something that the reason we grew so big, and by big I mean we have like 15 different offices, is very simple. The secret of our success: we answer the phone. Like I'm serious, if someone calls, there's a human being who picks up and tries to match the client with the correct therapist or the correct program. We return calls at the outskirt 24 hours. Mm-hmm. When we do testing and evaluation, we have availability immediately. So if we like run out of open slots, I hire someone else. I don't believe in turning a client away. So it sounds simple, but that is one of the main things people say when they call. I can't believe you picked up on a Thursday at 6 or whatever. Our level of service is quite high.
It's interesting you say that about phone calls, because the most common complaint that clients have about their lawyers is that they don't return phone calls. And technology being what it is, to be able to pick up a phone and talk to a live person, that's tremendous.
There's some businesses, I myself as a customer, I feel like I'm not that important to them. I'm like down here somewhere. They don't really need me, but we make the client feel like they are number one, because they are, in a sense.
The past 2 years with the pandemic and COVID-19 has seen a tremendous increase in all kinds of medical conditions, including mental health issues. What has been your practice's experience with the rise in issues that people might have?
So we always saw kids and teens and adults. We always, for 33 years. But we're getting more kids now because the school system with COVID and they're falling behind academically. If they did have some kind of learning disability, the pandemic did not help. If there were, I have to say something negative. If there was marital issues in the home, they were amplified by COVID. Either way, either good or bad. So a lot of anxiety, a lot of stress, a lot of confusion. And just when COVID seems to be fading, the news is not so pleasant. So we do get a steady stream of people who are anxious and getting depressed at times. And it's bringing out minor issues that they had, but they're becoming major issues because of the environment.
Do you, so, you mentioned news, Russia, Ukraine war. Have you seen an uptick in, people coming to you and asking for help?
Yes. The short answer is yes. And I'm a human being too. I was watching the news until 3 a.m. last night. So I'm no different than anyone else. I'm concerned, but I had a grandmother who was born in Lviv and Kiev. So not to get specific, but yes, people are, there's no question, people are more stressed out, particularly school kids, but also adults.
Fred, in terms of the pandemic, have there been any changes or adaptations you have employed to deal with the pandemic that you're going to continue to use in the future?
Well, we were one of the first ones to have a completely safe environment. I went out and bought like the lucite dividers and the masks, and we were always very, very safe. However, clients are now asking to come in person. They can't wait to be face-to-face. Our social skills group for teens is face-to-face. Of course, safe. We distance, we have masks, we try our best, everything's clean. Of course, safety first. But at this point, we are pretty much full over to in person. So of course, so the last 2 years, we changed everything. We had a lot of telehealth available. It's still available, but it seems like, I don't know, 95% of clients at this point, this week, are saying, gee, I'd like to come in. Do you have any openings? So we're primarily in person. Okay.
Is there a specific area of mental health care that you guys focus on, a particular, thing that you're well regarded or noted for?
If it's one thing we were noted for, it's issues with anxiety, issues with relationships. However, we do have, I think, 14 different therapists at this point. Some only see kids, some only see adults, literally some only see teenagers. They do kind of have sort of specialties. They all can treat anxiety and like general issues that many people do have. But our job is to match the therapist with the client, with the specific issue. We don't do addictions, there's things we don't do, but generally, a problem that you're likely to have, a mental health problem you're likely to have, we can definitely handle.
So I'm sitting in front of the television, I'm watching the news, and I'm hearing about this one got hurt. I'm hearing about war. I'm hearing about the pandemic. I'm hearing about political problems. What would you tell me? What would you tell people who are getting anxious about the daily onslaught of news? How can I make myself better in that moment?
So relaxation is a skill. You have to practice it. It doesn't just happen. Like if you want to be a good baseball player, especially in my case, I would need a lot of practice. So you practice breathing techniques, mindfulness techniques, muscle tension techniques. We have the neurofeedback techniques. So there's techniques. That's not going to solve the world's problems, of course. So in addition to that, we'd also have to talk about issues you have with anxiety in particular, any kind of history you have with anxiety. I would probably go against my own behavior, and I would say, don't stay up till 3 a.m. watching the news. I would say, limit your news. I can't tell people not to watch the news. That's impossible. But stick with 45 minutes of news and then go do something for yourself. You can't just be in front of the news or bad things. So combination of understanding where the anxiety comes from, which is understandable these days, avoiding too much exposure to screen time or whatever, specific relaxation techniques that do work, and seeing if there's any other issues, if at all. So we do have anxiety, luckily, is one of the success stories of psychology. We're pretty good at dealing with anxiety and helping people cope with anxiety.
Okay. Switch gears a little bit. And
sure.
I think one of the most famous healthcare professionals on TV is Dr. Melfi from The Sopranos. What's your take on her?
Well, okay. So I told you before the show, I'm an aficionado of on-screen media portrayed psychologists, and they're almost never portrayed realistically. You've got what is it Good Will Hunting has I forgot the name of the psychologist. Good Will Hunting,
Robin
and then
Williams.
There you go. Then there was Ordinary People. I mean, there's a million of them.
Judd Hirsch.
Yes, I see you're a fan. You're a fan also. So I'm always interested. And then there's what's the comedy with Richard Dreyfuss? Anyway, someone will think of it. But
Talking about Bob.
That's it. Something about Bob, or exactly. Not something about Bob. That's combining two titles.
Yeah.
Anyway, I find it entertaining.
What about Bob?
Yes, exactly. There's a certain reality to those characters. They usually consult a psychologist to try to get some things right. I grew up with the Bob Newhart show. He was a psychologist. I further saw every single episode of Frasier. Of course, it was influential to me. I think I became a psychologist because of the Bob Newhart show, believe it or not. He also had he had a luxury apartment and a good-looking wife too, but it's entertainment. It's not realistic at times. So it's tough to make a clinical judgment.
Understood. Do you feel that psychology and mental health care is a good career path for someone coming, thinking about college and post-college? What do you say to young people today?
So right now, if you love it, if you love helping people, if you love hearing people's stories, if you like interacting with people, if you have a genuine interest in people's, experiences, go for it. It's certainly a big field right now. There's more degree. It used to be just basically PhDs and MSWs. Now there's LMHCs and there's all kinds of other degrees. It is a good time to get into mental health. I will say, if you want to get rich, it's not the field for you. I've been doing it for 33 years, and I can tell you with authority, you'll make a living. You will, especially these days. You will definitely not be out of work. In fact, the private practices like my own, we're desperate to hire good people. All of us, I speak for all of the practices because I've spoken to every one of them. We're desperate to get good help who stay with us for a number of years. It's a good field. You're not going to be jobless.
Oh, well, that's good for a young person to know. Let's switch gears a little bit. You're on a desert island. You can have one book, one food, and one activity, non-psychologically based. What are you going to have?
Okay, so let's go. So the book. Wow, so many. I was going to say Alice in Wonderland, but I got maybe something more substantial. Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance, because I would like to understand it after reading it 10 times. I do understand most. Either Alice in Wonderland or Zen and the Art of Motorcycle Maintenance.
All right. How about the food and one activity?
Got to be steak and mashed potatoes, just basics.
All right.
I'd be fat, but steak and mashed potatoes. Okay. I'm sorry. What's the next category?
What activity are you going to have on this deserted island?
Music.
All right.
Producing techno music. It's a weird hobby of mine. And photography, but I think on a desert island, photography will get old quickly.
Fred, tell us what you are most proud of, either individually, professionally.
So when I think back on my career, I think I've said I've been doing this with at least 33 years. I do like to think of just the sheer amount of people that my company has helped. It's a super good, it's a good feeling. I got to admit it. When I think of like how many people were helped here, how many people's lives are a little bit better, how many people are a little bit happier. To be part of that is it's a privilege. It's really an amazing feeling.
Well, Fred, that is a tremendous sentiment, and it's great to hear, the work that you do, and it's really important. I think mental health is very misunderstood in our society, and it's great that people like yourself are there to help people who are in need. So on behalf of the Chamber of Commerce, I want to thank you very much for your sponsorship, and we're really looking forward to seeing you at SpringFest on May 22nd, and maybe you'll be offering some sessions at your exhibition booth. We'll see about that.
We're going to mostly free stuff. We're going to give away free stuff.
There you go. All right, well, listen, have a great day, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you very much. Nice to meet you.
My pleasure.